Hello, good day and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be looking at solving quadratic inequality. The question here says solve the inequality x squared minus 13x minus 68 is greater than 0. Now for us to solve this, we are going to ignore this inequality sign first and change it to equality sign so that we can get the values to this inequality, the solution first using the equality sign. So I'm going to write x squared minus 13x minus 68 is equal to 0. So now for us to solve this equation first, what we are going to do is to look for two factors such that when you multiply them, you have 68, negative 68, and when you add them, you're going to have negative 13. Now, a simple way of getting those factors is to rule a line and get the factors of 68. We get the prime factors first. So 68 can divide 2 and we'll be having 34. 34 can also divide 2 and that will give us 17. And then 17 is a prime number. It can only divide itself and that will give us 1. So now, we want to get two numbers that when we multiply them to give us 68. So the first number here has to be 68 times 1. First pair of factors. 68 times 1 will give us 68. Then 34 times what will give us 68? It should be 34 times 2. And then the next one, 17 times what will give us 68? That should be 17 times 4. So we now have our factors. So now, which of them are we going to add that will give us negative 13? So we have to assign the right sign to each of them so that we have the one that will combine together when we add them to give us negative 13. So 68 and 1, there's no way we can add them to get 13. It's not possible. 34 and 2, there's no way we can add them to get 13. But if you look at 17 and 4, we can assign a negative sign to 17 and then a positive sign to 4. That's plus 4 now. So that our two factors will be minus 17 and plus 4. So if you check, minus 17 times 4 will give us minus 68. And minus 17 plus 4 will give us minus 13. So we now have our factors. So the next thing to do now is to open up brackets. Since the coefficient of x squared here is 1, one simple way of solving this is to open up brackets and simply say x now. So we're going to say x. We open up the brackets and open another x. Close this bracket. So we put in these factors in the brackets. Is that clear? So this will be minus 17 and plus 4. These are the values that will give us the right factors. And then we equate it to 0. Don't forget. So that the values now, the answers, the solution to this equation will now be equating each of these. So if we equate it to 0, we'll be having x minus 17 is equal to 0. And then we have x is equal to positive 17. When this negative 17 goes to the other side, ignoring the 0, it becomes positive 17. Similarly, the other bracket we equate it to 0. We have x plus 4 is equal to 0. So that x, when we take this positive 4 to the other side of the equation, we have is equal to negative 4. So the two solutions now are 17 and minus 4. So now don't forget, we are solving an inequality, not an equation. So if you check back here, you see the inequality that we have there. So the next thing now to do is that one of these values that we have obtained, is going to take the original sign in the inequality. Let me write the inequality again as x squared minus 13x minus 68 is greater than 0. So we now have our two solutions as 17 and minus 4. So which of these values, one of these values will take this original sign of the inequality in the question, and the other one will take the reverse sign. So the simple trick here is to assign this original sign in the inequality to the higher value. Between 17 and negative 4, 17 is higher. So we're going to take this original sign in the question and assign it to this higher value, 17. So we'll have our first solution as x is greater than 17, because 17 is higher and the original sign is greater than that. Now the next thing for us to do is this second solution. What we're going to do with that is we're going to say the second solution will be x. We take the reverse sign of this. And then we say less than. This is greater than. So we take the reverse sign and we assign it to this lower value, which is negative 4. So we now have our two solutions, that x is greater than 17 and x is less than minus 4. These two solutions cannot be combined to one inequality because the range does not follow. We cannot write down the range in one inequality. So these are solutions to the inequality. Now let us try out another one so that we can see how this thing is properly done. A second example will help us understand this properly. So the second example I have here is, I'll call it number 2. And I'm going to say x squared plus 18x plus 72 is lesser or equal to 0. As usual, we equate it to 0. Is equal to 0. And then we look for two factors so that when we multiply the factors, we have 72, and when we add them, we have 18. So the factors are, what we do, we say 72, and then we say 72 divided by 2, that will give us 36. So the next thing again, we say 36 divided by 2, that will give us 18. 18 divided by 2 will give us 9. 9 divided by 3 will give us 3. And 3 divided by 3 will give us 1. So we are now going to check all these factors up to 1 and see which of them will give us the required factors. So don't forget, we are looking for two numbers such that when we multiply them, it's going to give us 72. So 72 times 1 is a factor. 36 times what will give us 32 is 36 times 2. 18 times what will give us 72, that is 18 times 4. 9 times what will give us 72 is 9 times 8. And then finally 3 times 24 will give us 72. So these are the factors that we can get from here. Now let's see which of them we can add together to give us 18. 72 and 1 cannot be added to obtain 18. It's not possible. 36 and 2, not possible. 18 and 4, not possible. 9 and 8 cannot give us 18. 3 and 24 can also not give us 18. So that means the required factors are not here. So what do we do to get the factors? We look at these values here on this side, and then we look for a possible multiplication of 2 or 3 of the values to get a factor that is not here on this side. So if I check, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 is already here. 3 times 2, 6. 6 is not here. If I check 2 times 2 times 2, 8. 8 is already here. So 3 times 2 is 6. So that means 6 is a factor, and 6 is not here already. So 6 is a factor. So 6 times what will give us 72. That should be 6 times 12 will give us 72. So 6 and 12 now, the question is, can we combine 6 and 12 to give us this 18? Yes. 6 plus 12 will give us 18. So the right factor that we need for this equation is 6 and 12. So we open up brackets. We open up bracket now, and then we put in 6 and 12. They are both positive values. So I say plus 6, and I say x plus 12, and we equate it to 0. So that means if we equate each of these brackets to 0, we now have x is equal to negative 6 as one of our answer, and then x is equal to minus 12 as the second answer. Now the question is, in the original inequality, we can see here, we have less than as the original inequality. So which of these of our two values here, these two solutions, which of them will take that original sign of less than or equal to? So as usual, like I said in example 1, we're going to assign this original inequality sign to the higher value of these two solutions. So between minus 12 and minus 6 and minus 12, which one is greater? Don't forget, minus 6 is greater than minus 12. Don't forget, because negative 12 is a smaller value than negative 6. These are not positive values, they are negative values. So this one, minus 6, is greater. So we're going to say x now, we take the original sign in the inequality, which is less than or equal to minus 6, and give it to this higher value. So x is less than or equals to minus 6. And then the second solution becomes x. We now reverse this sign and give it to the smaller solution. So we say x is greater than or equal to minus 12. So these are the two solutions that we have for this inequality. Now, one final step, can we combine them together to give our final solution? If you check, x is less than minus 6 means minus 7, minus 8, minus 9. Then x is greater than minus 12 means minus 11, minus 10, like that. So if you check these two range, the range can follow from minus 6 up to minus 12. So we can combine it on a single line and say x, the larger number, we can put it on this right hand side and say minus 6. And then this smaller number, we can put it on the left hand side. Don't forget, the open end is facing x. So we still need to write this and ensure that the open end is facing x. You can see from here, the open end is facing x. So when you are combining them, you ensure that that same open end faces x. Then minus 12, minus 12. So this is now the range of values that satisfy the inequality. Thank you for watching. Please like and share this video so that others can learn from it. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can watch more videos like this that will be coming out. Thank you.